The creator game is changing. The barbers who know how to create content on their own are the ones who are pulling ahead. You don't need a cameraman, you don't need expensive equipment, and you definitely don't need to rent out a high-end studio. What you do need is the right system. If you're a barber who wants to film clean, professional-looking content by yourself, attract real followers, and use that content to grow your brand and income, this video is for you. I've helped barbers create viral content using nothing but their phones, some free apps, and a few plug and play angles, and today I'm breaking it all down. In today's video, you can learn how to film scroll-stopping content without a cameraman, simple setups that you can use in any shop, and how to build content systems that actually grow your audience and bring in clients. No guesswork, not overwhelmed, just systems that work, even if you've never been behind the camera before. So pause your distractions, take notes, and let's turn your phone into a client-generating content machine without burning out behind the chair. Let's get into it. Okay, lesson 1, lighting. This is the key to any professional looking video. And I'm sorry, if your lighting is shit, it doesn't matter how clean your fade is, the video is gonna look the same. No details, no sharpness, no views, and that's just the truth, unfortunately. But the good news is, it's super simple to get right. Okay, these are the 3 essentials for filming viral content. Number 1, lighting. Number 2, camera placement. And number 3, background. Okay, and that's it. Once you master all 3 of these, making viral content is super simple. Lighting setup, all right? First of all, you wanna make sure that you have your light behind your camera, okay, which is then onto your subject/client, okay? Excuse my bad handwriting. Instead of having camera, then you have your subject, and then you have your light behind. So this is the correct way and this is the wrong way. Why? If you set up your cameras properly right and your light being behind your subject, you're not then going to have a blown out shot. You're going to show the details, you're going to see every single particle of each hair, and your subject is going to be lit properly. Rather than shooting into light, which encourages a blown out shot and ultimately making your videos look less professional. So we want to make sure again to have light, camera, subject, rather than camera, subject, light. We always want to be shooting with the light behind us going onto the subject so that the subject or your client is properly well lit. But just stop overcomplicating it and just follow this formula every single time. So again, light, camera, subject, not camera, subject, light. It's super simple once you break it down. Let's move on to the next factor, camera placement. Let me kill your excuse right now because I know you're about to say, my iPhone camera isn't good enough. Well, that's just bullshit. It's not your camera, it's your setup. So let's go ahead and set up your camera settings properly in your iPhone. So now that we've navigated to our camera settings, okay, we only need to change 2 real settings on our iPhone. We need to change the quality the video is recorded in, so we need to make sure that we're filming in 4K at 60 frames per second. The reason being we're choosing this over 120 frames is because ultimately we don't shoot that much in slow motion. It just results in bigger file sizes and your memory fills up quicker. So we want to make sure that we're shooting at 4K so that when Instagram does compress our footage, it keeps it to the highest quality possible. And then our next step that we need to change in our settings, we don't need to worry about recording slow motion and cinematic and those sort of things because ultimately we don't use this too often. But one thing that we need to make sure that is turned on is our grid settings. This is crucial for making sure that your subject is framed properly, and it allows you to have those grids on your iPhone so that every single shot is centralized and properly framed. So now that we've set up our camera properly, you can thank yourself because now your iPhone is a professional camera. So now that we've changed the settings in your iPhone and you've got it properly set up, let's talk about camera positions. One of the most overlooked parts when it comes to filming and where most barbers mess up. But let's fix that right now. Okay, let's talk about the 3 main angles that you're going to use. Angle 1, over the shoulder, okay? Angle 2, side/face on. And the last and final angle is bird's eye view, okay? BEV, bird's eye view. And on screen now, you're going to see some examples of me using this angle. But when are we going to use over the shoulder angle? You're going to use this angle 90% of the time when filming content. Why? Because it's extremely powerful. It allows you to have that POV style feel. It's really simple to set up. You're simply just going to set up the camera behind your shoulder and film your hands and film the client, okay? This is super simple, okay? But then where are we going to use side/face on? We will use this when capturing fading. We'll also use this to capture showcasing shots. And we're also going to use this when we're taking clean sections. This is super effective because it allows you to capture the full side of the client's head. Like I said, keep watching on screen because there's going to be a lot of visual representations of you using these angles. But now coming down to bird's eye view, this is a creative and dynamic shot, okay? Why? Because this is a shot we're not going to use very often. We're going to use this when we want to capture taking sections on the top of the head. I've said this in multiple videos, I've gone over it before, but I'm going to continue saying it because these are the 3 main angles that you need to start mastering in your content. It's super simple, and this is the angles that 90% of the leading barbers in our industry are using to create their viral content. If you just rotate between these 3 angles, your content is going to look 10 times more dynamic and intentional. You're going to start having that professional edge that every barber is looking for. But now we know exactly how to actually set up our cameras and the camera position, let's talk about the editing breakdown. The editing breakdown, which is the heart of your videos. I'm not going to dive too deeply into this because that's a whole video within itself, but I'm going to give you a rule of thumb to structure any short form video. So here's the process you need to follow when creating your short form content. Stage 1, we need to draw them in, also known as the hook. This is super vital because this is going to get them looking at a video straight away. We need to hook them within the first couple of seconds of the video. And the next process, we need to keep them engaged, okay? And this is done by showing our technical skills or our process. And this can simply just be done by showing how you take them from A to B by showing your own method, okay? So first of all, we've hooked them in, we've drawn them in straight away, we'll now engage them, and finally, we need to tell them exactly what we want them to do by implementing a CTA. We need to tell them when we want them to book in, how they can do it, and tell them exact steps that they need to take, they can do it. We need to make this dummy proof and as easy as possible. But what we need to make sure, the time frame over this whole short form video, is we need to make sure that it is 25 to 35 seconds long. No longer than 25 to 35 seconds. I've found that when you're recording your short form haircut videos, you need to make them as engaging as possible, and the sweet spot is anywhere from 25 to 35 seconds. 99% of my videos on my page are about 28 to 30 seconds long. So that's what I found to be the golden ticket. So make sure that you stick to this framework. So at first, we want to hook them in, then we want to make sure to engage them, and then tell them exactly what we want them to do and how to do it by implementing a CTA. And don't worry, further along in this video, I tell you exactly how you can do this and so you can structure your own content for yourself. But for now, that's the exact process that I look at, and most creators in any niche, when they're creating their short form videos, this is what they follow so they can start generating those millions of views. Also, because I'm feeling generous, linked in the comments is a full editing breakdown so you can watch me edit in full time, so make sure to check that out in the description below. So now you've got the full picture. Lighting, camera placement, editing, so structuring the videos. And once you master those 3, your content is instantly going to level up. You don't need a cameraman or expensive gear. You just need a system that works. And next, I'm going to show you a setup that you can use in any shop, even if you've got 0 time and 0 space. All right, so now you understand how to film professional content on your own. Let's talk about simple setups that you can set up in any shop using equipment you probably already have. You don't need a studio, you don't need fancy lighting rigs, you just need the right setup. One that works inside any barbershop or salon. Let's start with camera support. This is actually what holds your camera steady when you want to film your content. And I'm about to show you 3 camera setups that I've used throughout my content career that are simple and effective that you can use straight away. Number 1 being a DSLR tripod. This is your standard go-to setup. I would use this if I'm using a camera, or equally you can use it on your iPhone. The reason I like to use this tripod is because 1, it's super steady. You don't need to worry about your camera falling over. You don't need to worry about your iPhone falling off. And you know that it's adjustable and you can get those perfect angle shots. However, there is a downside to it. It is quite bulky and big. You have to imagine when you're around the chair, it's quite a small space as it is. And these clunky DSLR tripods can get in the way. However, it does allow you to have that strong, stable body, especially if using a camera. If you're using a camera, I would say this is a must. You wouldn't be able to use what I'm about to talk next because it is not stable enough. This would be my go-to tripod. Why? Because it's stable. It allows you to adjust the height so you can apply it up taller if you need, allows you to get those different angles. And 1, it's just a super stable. This is a go-to, and this is what most barbers in our industry are using. But let's talk about the camera setup number 2. Here is the camera setup number 2, and this is simply a monopod. This is super effective if you're filming on your iPhone. Why? Because as you can see, the legs are super small and the whole setup is really compact. This is great for if you have a tight space because it allows you to put this tripod right in front of you. It doesn't take up too much room, but the downfall is it's not as stable as the tripod. So if you're a little bit worried and you think that you could start to knock it, I wouldn't use this because the actual stability of this isn't as strong as the tripod. But like I said, if you have a tight space, you want to make sure to use one of these. But I'll put on screen now, I like to use a tripod that has a bendy top on the iPhone. I don't have it on me right now, but basically it's one of these that has a flexible top which allows you to connect your iPhone. And this is great because that flexible top allows you to put your iPhone in positions that you wouldn't be able to get into with this because this would get in the way. So I'll make sure to put that on screen and link it down below so you know exactly where to get these from. And the final camera setup that I like to use is actually a wall mount. This is what I use right now. Because I'm shooting on a camera, I need something stable. And this gives you that. So what I also like about the wall mount, and as you can see, it's completely hands-free. This is great because it allows me to put the camera in any position and my feet don't get annoyed by the legs. But however, this is a bit expensive, and also if you haven't got your own barbershop, you're going to need to screw it into the wall. So for everyone, this isn't a possibility. But like I said, if I could choose one for anyone and it's an all-rounder, make sure to grab yourself a DSLR tripod because it's stable, it's strong, and it has that adjustable features. But now we've discussed camera stability, let's talk about an actual lighting setup that you need to set up. And this is super simple. All you need is one ring light. You can get these on Amazon. I'll make sure to link it down below. But the reason we need one ring light, we need to make sure that our subject is lit properly. In most barbershops, the lighting that are used is down lighting, and this creates shadows. And when you're filming, shadows are good, but right when you're filming hair content, you want to have your subject as lit as possible. The reason being, it allows you to showcase the fade properly and you can see every little bit of detail. So simply, just grab yourself one ring light, one DSLR tripod, and you can start creating content straight away. But let me give you a little bonus tip, which I'm going to show you right now, and this is going to be a game changer for your content. The bonus tip I was just mentioning is all about the background. As you can see, I'm shooting right now with a plain white wall, and I see a lot of barbers thinking that this looks professional, but it just doesn't. Instead, what you want to do is add something in the background. This allows you to add depth and diversity to your shots. This can be done by simply applying a plant in the background like I have, or shooting in front of a picture. The reason I want to do this is it allows you to focus on the subject. Instead of just having a plain white wall that can ultimately result in a blown out shot, by having stuff in the background, it allows you to focus on the subject. Remember that the key is lighting. So make sure to set up your light, camera, subject, not camera, subject, light. Once you master this, you're elevating your videos straight away. And to make it even easier, I've linked a full equipment list down below so that you can literally click on that link and order a product straight away. And these are the exact products I use to film all of my content. But next, we're going to break down a content system that actually grows your audience and brings in clients. The third and final lesson is how to build a content system that actually grows your audience and brings in clients. But before we dive deeply into that, I just want to let you know that I've created a content accelerator program. And if you're a barber looking to level up their content game, this is for you. It's your one-stop shop to learn how to create, edit, and post as a barber, even if you've never been behind the camera before. And right now, it's on sale for £59, and I don't know how much longer it's going to be at this price. So make sure to check it out. It's linked down below, but let's get into those systems. Okay, so here's the viral barber content system. I'm going to break it down into 3 simple steps using this triangle. So the first step, we need to make sure that it is viral worthy. It is virality, okay? The content has the potential to go viral, all right? Secondly, we need to make sure that we're keeping them engaged so that they watch the whole way through. I'm sorry that I have terrible handwriting. And finally, we need to make sure that we tell them exactly what we want them to do, okay? We're going to tell them where we want them to go. Aha! I hope you see what I'm doing here because this looks extremely similar to the system we were just saying beforehand. So how are we going to make sure that a video is going to go viral? We do this by making sure that we hook them in. How are we going to keep them engaged? We're going to show our process. Like we said beforehand, we're going to show our processes and technical skills. And then finally, we're going to tell them exactly what we want them to do by implementing a CTA. Like we said beforehand. But let's go ahead and break down each one of these so you know exactly how to create content and structure it so that you can start performing and creating those professional looking videos. Let's break down the hook. You're going to see on screen now some examples of the hooks that I use in my videos. But what we want to do to break it down is make sure that within the first 3 to 5 seconds of the video, because this is the most important part of your videos. It's what captures people straight away, and this is what's going to keep them watching. But you need to make sure within the first 5 seconds we're implementing either a visual hook, okay, or a verbal hook. And you can do a visual hook by simply showcasing you taking your sections, walking to your station. We want to make sure it's as engaging as possible. So we want to change the zoom lengths, change the angles as many times as possible within that first 3 to 5 seconds. And a verbal hook can simply be done by saying, are you a barber wanting to escape the 10 hours behind the chair and learn how to scale a business online using skills that you already know? Make sure to follow these next 3 steps that I'm about to show you in this video. Instantly, you've hooked them in, right? So whether we're creating a process video by implementing a visual hook or a verbal video where we're creating those authority videos, this is crucial to do this within the first 3 to 5 seconds. Let's move on to the next stage of the video. Right, so the next part of the video is making sure to keep them engaged. And how are we going to do this? By showing our process, which is simply your way of doing things, all right? Your own unique style of doing things. So your techniques behind your haircuts, your process on how you do things. We want to make sure that within this section, we're showing our process and it's a transformation stage of how we're taking them from point A to point B. Simply from when they walk in to when they leave the shop, okay? We want to show the transformation in your process on how we're doing things. One, it shows your unique style so that people start following you because they like the way you do things. And two, you're actually showing a transformation. People want to see a change. It's a bit like anything. Whether you're doing building, people want to see a house from when it looks run down and shit to when it's that final product. They like to see the change. It's the exact same with haircut videos. People want to see the client walk in, looking all bummy, looking all sad, and then showing your process to getting them to their desired outcome on where they want to be. So we want to make sure that we're keeping them engaged by either showing our technical skills or transformation from point A to point B. But now we understood how to keep them engaged, let's finally talk about how to tie everything together and implement a CTA. So right, now we have our CTA, and this is what I like to call clicks to clients, all right? This is where we actually want to turn our views into clients so we can start seeing an instant gratification and reward for the content that we're making. But how are we actually going to turn our clicks to clients? This is simply done by two ways. You can either tell them in the end of the video, tell them exactly to click your booking link and tell them your location. This could be done by, if you're in the London area, make sure to click the link in the bio and get yourself sorted out. Or simply send you a DM. The purpose here of the CTA is telling them exactly what we want them to do. You need to think, if you don't tell them, they won't do it. It's as simple as that. We need to dumbify our whole content so that it's foolproof and people know exactly what we want them to do. And if you don't implement a CTA, your video is going to fall flat because people are just going to scroll off. But another great thing to do, if you do want to have a little secret bonus tip, apply a CTA within the first 10 seconds, all right? If you apply it within the first 10 seconds, you don't have to wait until the end of the 30 seconds hoping that people are watching your whole video, because a lot of the time, people are going to scroll off within the first 15 seconds. So if we can implement 2 CTAs without them even realizing, you have so much more chance of actually getting them booked in. But let's break down exactly what we want them to do so you have the full process on how to structure your videos. So simply, we want to make sure that we're hooking them in. Then we're going to keep them engaged by showing our processes and taking them from the transformation state from A to B. And then finally, we're going to implement a CTA, telling them exactly what we want them to do. But what type of content actually performs best? If you're wondering what content actually performs, I found that process videos and consultation style videos are the gold dust. Why? Because process video allows you to show the transformation process while highlighting your technical skills and your unique approach. This is great because it shows people from point A to point B. But in addition to this, consultation style videos are also amazing because it allows you to show the genuine connection between you and your client and also allows you to highlight their problem areas and you fixing these specific problems. I've actually got a full YouTube video on screen now that breaks down these entire content styles and a few more bonus high converting content styles that you need to check out. So make sure to give it a watch after this video and tell me what you think. So now you've got the full blueprint. Hook with purpose, showcase your skills, and convert with clarity. This isn't about guessing or just being consistent. It's a content system that turns attention into an income without cutting more hours. If you've been grinding behind the chair 10 hours a day, chasing clients, posting content, and hoping it brings results, it's time to shift that mindset. The barbers who are winning today aren't just good at cutting hair, they're building systems. Systems that grow their brand, attract the right clients, and allows them to create content that actually works for them. I've helped dozens of barbers do exactly that through one-on-one coaching. I work directly with you to create professional content that converts, build scalable systems, and start growing your business beyond the chair. Whether you're just starting out with content or already posting and seeing no traction, we'll map out your strategy that fits your style, your goals, and most importantly, gets results. If you're serious about leveling up, click the link below, get yourself booked in for a free discovery call where we'll break down where you're at, where you want to go, and how we'll get you there fast. Stop trading time for money and let's build something bigger than the chair.